Hello, I'm Jay Daragon, and today we're going to be discussing why the markets are chasing social media ROI. And I want to try to put this in context, at least from what my views are of what they're doing and not doing or should be doing. If we look to the left of the screen here, we can see that the traditional methods that markets have used has been advertising and marketing models aimed at pulling or pushing the market to them like a magnet, aiming to get a transaction from the market using the old media. Today, however, there's a new media, and this new media is all the conversations online, in context with the affinity people have to different topics and different people. The difference between this method and this old method is what I would call is a bridge. On the left side is the old method, still trying to pull conversations to them. And on the right side is the new method of conversations pulling each other, people, to relevant and information and knowledge that is helpful. If we look at this illustration over here, what I call the composite functions of social media. It is a system of processes. It isn't one process or one function. The system starts out with administration being your presence online. Then it moves to listening and learning, which is a strategic process. Then it moves to thinking and planning, which is another strategic process, before you get engaged with the market, which is a tactical process. This system takes time to build value. It isn't about pushing out marketing messages. It's more about being relational. Let's move in to look at the specifics of the new system that we're talking about here and look at each one of these elements and what does it represent in time and value. Once an organization makes the decision to engage in the use of social media, the first part is administration, or what I would call managing their presence. Where should they be present? Who should be present? Where are their employees? What is their social media policy? What are their competitors doing? Is your market using social media, and if so, how? And is your organization socially oriented? In other words, you better do a cultural assessment. Well, the first part, administration, is tasking, studying, research. It's not going to produce much results all by itself, except to give you a level playing field on what you need to do next. As we move to the right after administration, we see listening and learning, or what I would call as gaining insight. What is the interest of your market? What attracts them to engage in a dialogue and a conversation? Who's the influencers in your market? Where is your market? What networks are they in? What networks are they using? What social technology are they using? What methods are people using to pull your market to them? How can you reach that market? And what needs to be measured in order to ensure that you're listening and learning correctly? Moving to the right now, we see thinking and planning, or value creation is what I'm calling it. What is it? First, what is your intent? Your intent with the marketplace ought to be relational. What can you give your market that they currently don't have? And it may not even relate to your product, but what value, what knowledge can you share with your market to create that relationship? What will you do differently than your competitors are? Why will your market respond? Who will manage the outreach to your marketplace to ensure that the intent is consistent and the context of your content matches the intent? How much will it cost you? Who will produce this content? Now, after you've gone through these three stages, and you have all the right information, the right knowledge, the right learning, the next one would be engaging and measuring, which is what I'm calling verifying the value. So, what metrics matter to you? Is it size of audience? Is it engagement time with the audience? Is it reach? All these things need to be thought out. What needs to improve in your organization in order to better engage with your marketplace? How will you improve what you're learning are those critical issues that show up that need to change within the organization? What lessons are being learned? What's the market sentiment in terms of your engagement in your content? Who are you engaging, and why are people engaging with you? If you look to the far end of this diagram, the results of using social media are the results of your decisions, good, bad, and indifferent. So this is just a schematic, a systemic approach to helping organizations that once they decide to engage, and everybody's talking about what's the ROI on social media, the ROI reflects the quality of your decisions. And what we're trying to apply here, at least at the top level, is that there are systemic parts to social media, and not one of these parts by themselves can achieve the results that you want. Let's continue on in this dialogue. As we continue to examine the elements and the parts, the system, if you will, of social media, we can see that the directions, at least from our perspective, ought to be clear. The directions are relevant to asking who, what, where, when, why, how, all the appropriate questions in order for somebody to get the right answers so they can decide to engage and build the right administrative or management system in place so that they can listen and learn, so that they can apply strategic thinking and planning before they engage and before they start to measure the wrong things. From my perspective, at least, results come from the decisions, and the decisions have to do with how do you manage the system of social media so it creates new results, not the old results that you've been getting, which have been dismal in the marketing world, but new results because it's a new world. It's a new level of engagement. Consumers have been empowered, and markets are changing. I'd like to know, if you don't agree with this presentation, what does your system of social media look like? What's your perspective on the critical parts that make up the system of social media with the aim of producing results? One last thing. The results aren't for you. They're for the market of consumers, buyers. And the easier you make it for them to get the right answers to questions they have, the better results that you'll have. Stay with us. We'll be discussing more of this at a future date. Thank you.